Broken torsion springs are a common repair problem on garage doors as they age. We often get asked why garage door springs break. Most manufacturers go with a cycle life of 10,000, which means the door can open and close 10,000 times before that spring is going to fatigue and break. Now that's an estimate based on science, of course, so you know the range could be somewhere around that 10,000 cycles. It's much like if you imagine a paper clip, you can bend back and forth a number of times and eventually it's going to snap. That's kind of how spring steel works on an overhead door. Commonly we get asked, people looking for parts and inquiring on perhaps making this a do-it-yourselfer job. It's not something that we recommend as a do-it-yourselfer. We would suggest that you hire a professional to replace the torsion spring. But I thought it would be a good idea if I just gave you a quick overview of how the counterbalance system on a sectional overhead door works for your own interest. The weight of the door is balanced by a torsion spring. When the door is fully closed, that spring is fully wound. The torque on that spring is transmitted across the spring shaft and down to a drum and cable system which is connected to the bottom of each side of the door, and the spring lifts the door. As the door loses weight through the door tracks, as the top of the door starts to become horizontal, the spring loses torque at the same proportion as the door loses weight. So the door is completely balanced all the way up from closed to open. If you have to replace a torsion spring, it's critical that you replace it with the same spring that came off it. The spring is specific to the weight of the door, as well as the size of the door and the number of revolutions that shaft is turning, so that when the door is open and that spring is exhausted, there's only about a half turn left on that spring just to keep the door open.